Okay, so we're diving into this YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
And the title is pretty provocative.
Yeah, it is.
It's called Democrats Want You Sick, Sad, and Mentally Ill.
Wow.
So you sent this one over, and it's from a channel called Mr. Reagan.
Right.
It's a pretty bold claim, right?
Yeah, it is bold. And it doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
It basically argues that the Democratic Party is intentionally using policies and messaging to weaken Americans, physically and mentally.
Okay.
The goal, at least according to this video, is to make people more reliant on the government and therefore more likely to vote Democrat. So it's kind of like a...
Yeah, it paints this picture of a cycle where people who are struggling end up, turning to the government for help.
Right.
And then that reliance on assistance keeps Democrats in power.
Exactly.
Have you encountered this argument before?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
This idea, it taps into a bigger debate.
Okay.
About the role of government. I mean, you often see Republicans emphasizing individual responsibility and limited government, while Democrats tend to lean more towards social safety nets and government programs to address societal needs.
Right, yeah.
So the video really plays on this ideological divide to make its case.
Okay, I see. So this is sort of like the foundation of the argument they're trying to build.
Exactly.
Okay, so now the video claims that mental illness is more common among those who identify as leftists.
Interesting.
Now, I found that an interesting point.
Yeah.
But isn't that kind of a tricky area?
Yeah, it is.
Because it makes you wonder, does identifying as a leftist lead to mental health challenges?
Right.
Or do people who are already struggling with mental health gravitate towards those political ideologies?
It's a chicken or the egg thing, isn't it? Yeah, the video seems to suggest that the promise of more government assistance might be particularly attractive to people facing mental health issues, leading them, towards the Democratic Party.
It's interesting.
It's a complex relationship, and I think we need to consider other factors beyond just political leanings when we talk about mental health.
Okay, so it's not like a simple cause and effect.
Right, exactly.
But the video is trying to draw that connection.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so now the video goes even further.
Okay.
It actually argues that Democrats are contributing to the rise of mental illness.
Wow.
Through their policies and cultural trends.
Okay.
And some of the examples that they use are pretty provocative.
Right. And I think it's important to approach these with, a critical eye.
Yeah.
I mean, the video highlights things like abortion access, claiming that it leads to mental health issues for some women. But, we need to acknowledge that this is a very sensitive topic.
Yeah, for sure.
And, there's an ongoing debate about the impact of abortion on mental health. There are strong opinions on both sides.
Okay.
So.
Right. Very divisive. Another example they bring up is the body positivity movement.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've got thoughts on this one.
Oh, absolutely.
So what do you think?
Well, the video argues that the movement, while aiming to promote self-acceptance, might unintentionally normalize unhealthy lifestyles.
Okay.
And critics of the movement express concern that it kind of downplays the health risks linked to obesity.
Right.
But, on the other hand, supporters of the movement argue that it challenges unrealistic beauty standards.
Okay.
And promotes self-love.
Right.
So it's a complex issue.
Yeah.
With, valid points on both sides.
Right.
So sure.
So it's not a simple answer.
No, it's not.
Okay, and then the video brings up something called grievance culture.
Okay.
Which they claim is fostered by Democrats.
Yeah.
And contributes to negativity and resentment.
Interesting.
Have you heard this term before?
I have.
Okay.
Grievance culture is a term used to describe this perceived focus on injustices.
Okay.
Real or perceived, which some argue can lead to feelings of victimhood and resentment. It's a very debated concept, though.
Okay.
Some see it as a legitimate response to actual systemic problems.
Okay.
While others see it as an unhealthy obsession with perceived slights. Which prevents people from moving forward.
Okay.
It's definitely a term that sparks a lot of discussion.
Yeah, for sure. And this video really leans into that more negative interpretation.
Right.
And suggests that it's detrimental to mental and emotional well-being.
Right.
So there are a lot of strong opinions packed into this one YouTube video.
We're just getting started.
Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
The video touches on several other topics,
okay,
each with its own set of claims and arguments.
Right.
And I think it's important for us to kind of unpack each of these carefully.
Yeah.
And, consider both the video's perspective and potential counter-arguments.
Right. So try to keep it balanced.
Exactly.
So let's see where this deep dive takes us.
Yeah, let's dive in.
So one of the threads that I noticed running through this video is this idea that Democrats are pushing an anti-Christian agenda.
Okay.
And the video connects this to Christianity's emphasis on happiness and virtue.
Right.
Suggesting that, moving away from those values leads to a decline in well-being.
Yeah, that's a sensitive topic for sure.
Yeah.
Religion and politics are deeply intertwined, for many people.
Right.
And this video seems to be tapping into those connections.
Yes, for sure.
It is interesting to consider how the video links religious beliefs with political leanings and ultimately with mental well-being.
Right.
Do you think there's a connection there?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be mindful of the diverse range of beliefs and experiences people have with religion and politics.
Right.
But, the video clearly presents a particular viewpoint on that connection.
It does.
And it goes on to talk about climate hysteria.
Okay.
Arguing that it's being used to create fear and anxiety, especially among young people.
This ties into a growing concern about the potential psychological impact of climate change.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion about how to communicate the urgency of the issue.
Right.
Without causing, widespread despair and inaction.
Yeah.
So the video is kind of suggesting that Democrats are using that fear for political gain. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's complex.
Yeah.
On one hand, I understand the concern that constant negativity about climate change could lead to anxiety and hopelessness.
Yeah.
Especially, for young people.
Right.
But on the other hand, ignoring the issue or downplaying its severity doesn't seem like a responsible solution either.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between, raising awareness and promoting action.
Right.
Without overwhelming people with fear.
Right.
And this kind of connects to the video's claims about the overdiagnosis of mental health conditions in young people.
Okay.
Which it links to social media trends.
Yeah.
And the constant flow of negative news. What are your thoughts on the role of social media here?
Well, the impact of social media on mental health is a topic we could spend hours discussing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
There's research emerging about, the potential downsides of constant connectivity and comparison and exposure to idealized versions of reality.
Exactly.
The video, in its own way, is adding to that conversation by suggesting that, these platforms are being used to manipulate young minds.
Right.
It even points to the neurodiversity movement.
Okay.
Claiming that it romanticizes mental illness and leads some kids to self-diagnose.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
The neurodiversity movement emphasizes that neurological differences, like autism or ADHD, are natural variations, not necessarily deficits.
Right.
So the video seems to be concerned that celebrating neurodiversity could lead to, minimizing the struggles that people with mental health conditions face. It's challenging this idea that all differences are inherently positive and worth celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a risk of that?
Well, I can see how promoting self-diagnosis could be problematic.
Right.
It's crucial to have, professional evaluations and guidance when it comes to mental health.
For sure.
But I also think the neurodiversity movement has played a valuable role in promoting acceptance and understanding of neurological differences.
Absolutely.
It's about finding that balance between acknowledging the challenges and celebrating individual strengths.
Exactly.
So the video then shifts gears.
Okay.
And argues that Democrats are pushing narratives that intentionally divide society and create mental distress.
Okay.
So things like critical race theory, gender ideology, and a focus on systemic oppression are presented as tools to sow discord and make people unhappy.
It's interesting how the video frames these complex social issues as inherently harmful.
It suggests that highlighting inequalities and promoting social justice actually do more harm than good.
Right.
It's a perspective that resonates with some people.
Yeah.
And it's important to understand why.
It's like they're saying, don't rock the boat, just be happy with things as they are.
Right.
But of course, that ignores the very real struggles that people face because of systemic issues.
It oversimplifies a complex reality.
Yeah.
But it's also worth acknowledging that there are legitimate concerns about how these issues are sometimes framed and debated.
Right.
The video, in its own way, highlights the potential for these conversations to become polarizing and unproductive.
Right. So after painting this rather bleak picture of American society, the video then offers a sort of antidote to this perceived mental health crisis.
I see.
So what's the solution according to this video?
Well, the video emphasizes personal responsibility.
Okay.
It stresses things like faith, strong relationships, hard work, and the pursuit of excellence.
So it's about finding your purpose and contributing to a stronger society.
It's a message that resonates with the idea of individual agency and self-reliance.
Right.
But it also raises questions about the role of societal structures.
Yeah.
and systems in shaping, opportunities and outcomes.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that balance between personal responsibility and societal factors?
It's a delicate balance for sure.
Yeah.
The video clearly prioritizes personal responsibility, suggesting that individuals have more control over their well-being than they might realize.
Right.
Which, is a perspective that has merit.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all take steps to improve our mental and emotional well-being, regardless of our circumstances.
For sure. But we also can't ignore those very real systemic barriers that many people face.
Right.
Things like access to healthcare, economic opportunity.
Absolutely.
Even basic needs like food and housing all play a role in individual and societal well-being. So it's a complex interplay of individual choices and systemic factors.
It is.
And it seems like this is where the video's message might fall short for some people.
Right.
It's important to acknowledge the role of both individual choices and societal structures.
Yeah.
In shaping mental health and well-being.
Absolutely.
It seems like the video is presenting a very specific worldview.
Yeah.
And using it to interpret a complex issue like mental health. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Okay.
The video does offer, a thought-provoking perspective.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to remember that it's just one perspective.
Right.
It's up to each of us to, critically evaluate the information we encounter.
Yeah.
Consider different viewpoints and form our own conclusions.
Right.
What stood out to you as you watched this video?
Well, I was struck by how the video connects a wide range of issues.
Yeah.
From political ideology to social trends to personal choices.
Right.
And frames them all as contributing to a decline in mental health. It definitely sparked a lot of questions for me about the complexities of mental well-being.
Yeah.
And the forces that shape it.
It's complicated.
What about you?
I think the video highlights the importance of media literacy and critical thinking.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with information from all sides.
Right.
And it's crucial to be able to discern fact from opinion.
Right.
Recognize biases.
Yeah.
And evaluate information thoughtfully.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, complex and sensitive topics like mental health.
For sure. So it seems like this video is trying to present like a unified theory of everything that's wrong with society today.
Yeah.
And blaming it all on one political party.
It's a bold approach, for sure.
Yeah.
And while it might resonate with those who already share the video creator's viewpoint, it's likely to alienate others.
Yeah, yeah.
The video relies heavily on generalizations and simplifications, which can be problematic when discussing complex issues like mental health and societal well-being.
It's interesting, though, that despite the video's kind of bleak portrayal of the state of mental health in America, it ends on a somewhat hopeful note.
It does.
Right.
Yeah, it calls for a return to what it considers traditional values.
Okay.
And a renewed focus on personal growth.
Okay.
The video emphasizes the importance of individual responsibility and encourages viewers to really take control of their lives.
So it's almost like a self-help message.
Right.
Within a political critique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The video seems to be suggesting that if individuals focus on things like faith, strong relationships, and the pursuit of excellence, they can kind of overcome these negative forces that it attributes to the Democratic Party.
Interesting.
It's a message of empowerment, urging viewers to take charge of their own well-being.
But doesn't that place a lot of burden on individuals?
Well,
what about the systemic factors that we talked about earlier?
Right.
Things like access to healthcare, economic opportunity.
Yeah.
And, social support systems, which all play a role in mental health.
You're right.
Right.
It's important to acknowledge that not everyone has equal access to those resources and opportunities.
Yeah.
So the video's emphasis on personal responsibility might oversimplify the complexities of mental health and kind of overlook the impact of those societal factors.
So after this deep dive into this video, what are your key takeaways for our listener?
Well, I think it's crucial to remember that this video is presenting a very specific and highly partisan perspective. It uses selective evidence and inflammatory language to paint a particular picture of reality.
Right.
So it's important to approach it with a critical eye and consider alternative viewpoints.
So it sounds like a reminder to be discerning consumers of information.
Absolutely.
Especially in today's media landscape.
We're constantly bombarded with information from various sources, each with its own biases and agendas.
Right.
It's up to each of us to evaluate the information we encounter.
Yeah.
Consider different perspectives and form our own conclusions.
Right.
This video certainly provides provides a lot to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just one piece of a much larger and more complex puzzle.
You mentioned earlier the importance of, media literacy and critical thinking.
Right.
Do you have any advice for our listener on how to develop those skills?
Well, I think a key starting point is being aware of our own biases.
Okay.